So one relatively frequent question I get asked is, what do you do about dating and relationships when you live in a vehicle, either a van or, like me, in a tiny little car? I'll quickly address that now before we go on a nice long walk, which will feature some lovely dawn chorus bird song and a nice drone flight after the end of the walk here over Ventnor Bay. So, put my hood up. Let's talk generalities before I talk about my own situation briefly. So I think if you'll agree that if you search for van life videos online, you'll often find couples living in vehicles, in vans that is. You very rarely find couples living in cars though, for obvious reasons. Very compact spaces are next to impossible. I wouldn't say never though. I mean, I'm sure there are people living in cars that have a partner who lives in a vehicle, maybe a van or a house even. But you certainly don't see much of that on YouTube. But with van life, with bigger vans, you very often see couples living in vans. And I know of a few people down in Cornwall who are dating whilst they're living in vans. They're dating other people who live in vans, and they're dating people that live in houses as well. So, you know, I think I don't think that dating is an uncommon or an unusual thing for people that choose to live in vehicles. In terms of my situations, I've not actually had any kind of long-term relationship over the last 2 years since I've been in the car, and I think it does, you know, it is a constraining factor, shall we say. I'm not saying I haven't had some short-term, you know what I mean, but I've not actually done more longer-term dating whilst I've been in the car. Was what I did when I was in the Blingo. I was actually in a longer-term relationship, and then in a shorter-term relationship when that ended in the Blingo. So I think if I was a van lifer, if I was in a van rather than the car, it would be easier. But yeah, I do plan to go into a van, so we'll see what happens. In terms of how you actually go about dating if you live in a van, I mean, van lifers tend to be quite sociable beings, oddly enough. So they're nomadic, but there are a lot of van get-togethers, and you'll often find little van communities forming in various places, some of which are less welcome than others. So down in Cornwall, there's very much a surfing scene, and a lot of surfers are either kind of weekend warriors, as we call them. They live in their vans at the weekend when they're out surfing, or they're full-time surfers. And a lot of students live in vans as well, down in Cornwall, and a few in Devon around Exeter University, which is where I went. So, you know, they're a very sociable bunch on the whole. Obviously you get some more kind of nomadic people that keep to themselves, but in terms of socially, I think van lifers are very much like the rest of society, really, in that they meet people, they've got a social circle, and that's still a very common way of actually getting together and dating. And obviously you've got the apps, which I'm not familiar with those because they're not my thing, but you've got all the dating apps, Tinder and Match.com, those kind of things, which anyone can use those, including if you live in a vehicle. I think you do very much have your tribe. So I very much got my tribe, which is nomadic people that love travelling, love backpacking, love travelling around and being at a different place from one week to the next. Surfing types, rock climbing types, basically dirtbags. And the travelling types. So I think from my point of view, in terms of longer term, what I'm going to do, I will be getting a van as soon as possible. I've kind of decided to do that now, mainly because a lot of people have basically told me I'm completely bonkers and I shouldn't be living in a car. There's nothing to do with that. Nobody can convince me where to live. I'm very much an autonomous, free spirit in those terms. But I do plan to get a van, and I think the whole dating thing will become easier once I've got a bigger space. And yeah, but I do have the tribe, so I'm fairly sure, but you never know, that I'm most likely to meet somebody who is nomadic and lives in a vehicle or is a traveller. But you never know what's around the corner, do you? So I hope that's answered the question. Now we're going to go on a nice, well, I'm going to return to a video I shot earlier today at dawn, which is a bit of a drive, a nice long walk, some dawn chorus, some birds singing and some drone flights. Thank you for watching this section though. Well, good morning. So I had intended to have a walk here. I'm at Blackgang. It's what time is it? 13 minutes past 7 in the morning. But as you can see, it's pretty much dense fog. It looks like there's blue sky beyond it, which there isn't. It's not quite that early, but so I think I'm going to attempt to get below the fog and go into the undercliff. Let's see what it's like down there. So I parked up overnight at Blackgang. It was a lovely, peaceful night. There's a little van, a little I think it's a VW Caddy parked in the same little car park. Apart from that, there's no vans here this evening. Well, there were no vans here this evening. There's often 2 or 3 larger vans in here. God, it really is foggy. So I'm hoping when I get down to St Lawrence this will all be above us, but don't know how hopeful I should be at that, to be honest. Find out in a minute, won't we? Going to make for a very exciting drive through fog. Won't take us long though to get to St Lawrence. So after my YouTube Christmas New Year bump, which is what can happen, which sometimes happens, which I think generally happens, is that over the holidays when lots of people are at home and they're getting bored, they watch my videos so they can become even more bored, and I think that's what people did. Lots of new subscribers, nice bumping channel views, and now it's settled back down at a higher level than it was previously. So it was, prior to that, it was around about 300 to 500 views per video, which I was happy with. It's now gone up to kind of 2,000 on average, I think, views per video. If I can hold at that level, I'll be very happy. If I can gradually grow the number of views per video, I'll be even happier. Oh look, we dropped down a little bit. So we might actually be able to get below the cloud line. No drizzle in the air. Don't know if you noticed, but there's absolutely no condensation on the inside of the vehicle. So last night was, well, just like we've seen it really, which is moisture-laden air, I would suggest. So my little dehumidifier bags could well be working, as could the cat litter in a fabric bag I've got. Kind of silicon gel based cat litter. So I'm going to get some more. I obviously had the window open by an inch or two. So we can crack the condensation issue and also get rid of any trim that's made of material. Might well be able to resolve the risk of black mould developing, or remove the risk of black mould developing. Of course, a lot of my clothes are not in the van at the moment, or in the car at the moment. They're up in the room that I've got for this month, so they're not trapping any moisture. When they come back in, they'll obviously be be able to trap moisture. I really do need a bigger vehicle, people. Which, funnily enough, some people have mentioned. Some people. Virtually everyone's mentioned that. So yeah, point taken. I haven't had my morning coffee yet, so my throat is a bit dry. So we're just going down a little valley between Knighton and Whitwell now. I don't know if it's called Upper Knighton or not. I don't think it is. Or is it? It's just the main village of Knighton, which extends down towards St Catherine's Point. Around the Buddle Inn, that's also Knighton, but they just seem to be two separate little villages to me, but I don't think they are. I don't think there's an Upper and Lower Knighton, or a Knighton and a lesser light Knighton. That would give you an inferior complex, wouldn't it, if you lived in Lesser Knighton? Perhaps that's why we don't have any towns or villages called Lesser. I know the Americans in South Dakota get all eggy, or they don't, North Dakota, or is it South? One of the two. You've got the Dakotas, the North and the South, and one of them get all feeling that they're inferior because they're either South or North. I can't remember, I think it's probably South. Anyway, I'm probably completely making that up. Tell me in the comment section if I'm making that up. Maybe it's just a joke in a What is America, or Who is America? Sacha Baron Cohen thingy. Tell me what movies I should be watching, by the way. I've got Amazon Prime, one of my little vices. Actually, I didn't include that in my 2025 spending, did I? Amazon Prime Video. Damn. That's added I don't know, probably 100, 150 quid maybe, annually. I did get roundly criticised on that how much I spent in 2025 video, because people were saying, well, I've got a mortgage and I spend less than that, or I rent in a room, or I rent a house and I spend less than that. Obviously I can't verify that, and I'm sure it's true. You know, I was spending £20,000 a year, or I'd spent £20,000 a year last year. I can cut, I think it's 3,600 odd off of that, which I spent on ferries, which I won't be spending this year, or nowhere near as many ferry crossings. And a big chunk of that was an assumption of £10 a day on coffees and teas in cafes, which I cut right down. The last few days it's been £1 a day. Sorry, £2 a day in one cafe. I get a little bit of a discount, which is very kind. So I was, people were saying, well, we live on less than £20,000 a year, and we live in a house and pay all the standing charges for bills and all that, which I'm sure is all legitimate criticism of my budget, but it was a unrepresentative year of my expenditure, or unrepresentative of my expenditure. Right, so we're now sitting below the fog, and we're going to go lower, down elevation into the undercliff, and have a bit of a walk down there in St Lawrence. Right, going to do Battle of the Chute, bit of a shoot 'em up. It's better at this time of day when you can see people's headlights coming up, but it's basically a very narrow bridge that only one person or one car can go on at a time, and there's a sharp bend, So it's all a bit complicated. It's the bridge that went over the old railway line, which is obviously just a track bed now. Well, not even a track bed, it's just a... I think somebody's using it as their cupboard in their garden. Nice cupboard to have, isn't it? An old railway tunnel. It's not a proper tunnel, it's just a bridge. Right, I can see no headlights, so I'm assuming I can just go for it. Let's turn mine on bold so anyone can see me coming round. Turn them off again. Looks like I made it through without any drama. Marvellous. Right, it's quite early, so might even get some birdsong on this walk, you never know. Can't immediately hear any through the car. God, my throat is really dry and feel a bit dehydrated. I've not had my morning coffee yet. So that is my immediate priority when I get down here. Because at Blackgang I just thought, well, let's get down to St Lawrence before it gets too light, because then we'll hear the bird song earlier on. So that's what we've done. So I haven't had my coffee yet. That's good. No crash on the corner there. I find you get the better bird song at the little the little junction, the transition between Pelham, or not Pelham, what am I talking about? The little Hampton Island Wildlife Trust woodland here and the gardens. I think the birdies like the gardens just because there's more variety in the vegetation. Right. What I might do, excuse the squeaky window, I'm going to wind the window down. Put the microphone outside whilst I make coffee. So I'm not going to say very much, just listen to the bird song if I can get the microphone off the metalwork. Alright, hopefully you can hear that. The microphone is now outside the car and I'm inside it making coffee. So listen to the birds and watch me make coffee. This bit looks a bit weird, but I'm mixing up fresh oat milk, which I need to get rid of, with powdered oat milk. So I'm going to combine the two, just so I can deplete my supply of this stuff a bit. Right, I'm not going to do very much until it's boiled. So carry on listening to the song thrushes, robins, wrens. Very nice. Doing a bit of doom scrolling. This is my new curtain. Now, because I've got some oat milk that's just boiled in the kettle, I swish it off a little bit with water first thing. And there we have it. I'm going to drink some coffee now whilst you're listening to the birds. Powdered oat and pea stuff, whitener, whatever you call it, I won't call it milk. Milk is a really good innovation. This feels like about time, I think. So let's just stick my shoes on. Something you particularly need to see. Oh, if I can find them. There's one. Let's turn you around so you can see my daily struggles. God, it'd be easier to live in a house. Everything is within reach here, but only if you know where it is. Where's my other shoe? It doesn't seem to be within reach. Oh, there it is. Just out of reach. Oh, I've got a lace. Have I got a lace? I've got a lace now. Oh, I need to sort out a system, don't I? Got it. Oh, now it's jammed. Another shoe. Or the other shoe. Oh, that's better. Right, don't worry, we will get outside in a second. Just delaying things. Let me switch you off for 2 seconds. Nearly there, right. So I'm going to put this on, which is the main camera I use when I want to go hands-free, when I want to go for a walk. I've got my little headband jobby. Let's put the jacket on. Got the jacket. Oh no, that's my sleeping bag. Hold on. Where did I put my jacket? There it is. Yeah, that's it. Chaos, utter chaos. What's that in the road? I hope it's not a squashed squirrel. I don't think it is. Doesn't look like it. Get a lot of red squirrels down here, so you can never be too sure. Is this actually... I don't think this thing's connected. Hold on. I'm going to turn you off. Just use the microphone built into the camera. It didn't look like it was actually connected anyway, which is a bit weird. I think it was when I was recording the birds. I hope it was anyway, otherwise you wouldn't have heard any of that and I'd have to scrap that bit of the video. Right, so that goes on there like that. So basically the camera I'm recording on currently, there, which is where you're sat, is my dash cam, or it doubles up as my dash cam, and that is the DJI Pocket 3, very kindly funded by a subscriber to this channel. Thank you, Michael. Amazing, that's my favourite camera. It's just a wonderful piece of kit. And I also have, so the cam quality is less on this other one, but in winter this is the one I like to mount on my head, so I've got this one subsequently. This is the DJI Nano camera. You can see that, which just clips onto my head. It's really annoying because it should have horizon lock, which means the horizon shouldn't tilt up and down when you move your head up and down, but it doesn't seem to be doing it, which means I've got it set up wrong. Let me check the settings. Comes with a screen, a detachable screen. Let me just check. Actually, let's make sure the microphone's all connected up. I'll do a proper video on how all this works. So it's not, so it's rock steady but not horizon lock. Oh no, but it is locking the horizon. So in theory, so I've got it on 1080p 30, I'm afraid, because it already takes too long to upload videos, so you're having to suffer the indignity of 1080p video quality. Let me just... oh, it's on wide rather than... I don't want it on wide. Well, do I? Let's put it on standard. How do I... Can I scroll? I'm trying to work out how I get to horizon lock. Sorry about this. Standard dewarp. Resolution. There's 4K. Yeah, I can't see what I'm trying to see. Maybe it needs a firmware update. Oh well, we'll have to leave it as it is for now. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I'm definitely not an expert on this sort of stuff. Anyway, we will get out in a second, I promise. Where's my other jacket buried? Sorry about the sighing. There's my other jacket. Do I need another jacket? It's not really cold out there. Yes, I will anyway. Better to be nice and snug rather than a bit chilled. It is midwinter after all. So I was saying I'm going to reduce the length of my videos, so what do? Create this video, which is a lot longer. Pin you on my head. That's where the microphone lives. There we go. How's that look? A lot of you will have seen this setup before, but there's a lot of new subscribers to this channel. You may be interested in my camera systems. I will do a video, like I said, on my whole YouTubing process. Shooting the videos, getting the videos from the little cameras to the computer that I use, the laptop, and then getting it all edited in DaVinci Resolve. Drink a little bit more coffee. Leave some for when I get back. Excuse the slurping. I've been told off severely for slurping on the video. It's very impolite, which I agree with, but last time I did it I was overemphasising it as a bit of comedic effect. Not that anything on my videos is all that comedic, but you know what I mean. Maybe. Righty-ho, people. You'll be delighted to hear I'm finally going to go for a bit of a walk. Oh, God. Getting my binoculars over my head with this hood system is challenging because it tends to do that. There we go. What's wrong with that, eh? That's better. Right. Switch you off. You on. Now hopefully it's recording. According to the little screen it is recording. Turn you off. Take the hood down. Don't need that on, do I? And go for walkies. Finally. It's got out the blooming car. Right, I'm not going to walk up the hill onto a high hat. I'm going to stay down here this time. I've left my phone in the car. Good grief. You can guarantee I won't edit this bit out because I'm quite a lazy editor. It kind of, if I do it, it kind of goes on the video on the whole, depending on what I'm doing. Right, the time is 7:52. It's later than I thought. So the walk won't be that long, but it will be Strava'd. If I had any brains, I would put the routes that I take, or screenshot the little map that Strava creates, and then embed it in my video so you can see exactly where I'm walking. In the comments section, repeatedly remind me to do that. And I would eventually start doing it. Has to become a habit, otherwise I just forget. Oh, hammering woodpecker there. Slow hammering. Nice. There's a blackbird. Definitely getting ready for spring. What is it, the 18th of January? 19th of January. And it's all uphill from now onwards in terms of moving out of winter into spring. I always think of February as the transition. Late February is spring, really. I might start recording over this spring. In fact, I'm going to send myself a reminder. An ASMR video, which is basically birdsong, recorded here. Dawn, well, first light through to dawn, through dawn, and with some video attached. Just birdsong, basically. So you might be able to play that in the background when you're doing whatever you're doing. Put the video on, let it play, and I get a bit of ad revenue. Unfortunately it'll be interrupted by adverts, but you know. Could always sign up to YouTube Premium and not pay the adverts, but I still get a little bit, not as much, but a little bit via YouTube Premium. Lovely robin up there. Somebody expressed frustration that they could never see the birds I'm talking about. Afraid that's the nature of these kind of videos. The camera system cannot zoom right in. I do have a separate bigger camera, and if I remembered I'd bring it with me just in case I see a red squirrel or a woodpecker or something. The littler stuff, it's harder to capture decent, worthwhile imagery, but I'll try. That's a lovely van. I do like that van. A Sprinter, very popular van life model. I had the camera tilted a bit low there. You were probably looking at the ground. Oh well. What's singing then? Blue tit calling. Robin singing. Morning, you alright?
Nice day.
Hello? Yeah, lovely. Hello. It is a nice day. Wonder if there's any food in the feeders along here. There's some bird feeders that the squirrels also like. Yeah, jogger going past, so all the birds will be flushed. There's certainly bird food there though, so I'll see the birdies. Morning. Hiya. Yeah, some peanuts. The seed feeder is empty. Can't see any squirrels. There's some food on the little table as well. Let's walk straight through there. I don't want to disturb the people. They may be enjoying their birds in their garden. Oh, lovely smell of foxy there. So when I was young, when I was supposed to be doing my GCSEs, this is when we lived in London for a little while. Obviously we were from the island, but we had a period of time in London, and I did some of my GCSEs in London. But rather than do my GCSEs, I would go out every night, or not every night, but probably 4 nights a week, 4 nights out of 7. Go out, leave the house at about 11, 12 o'clock, maybe later, once the parents had gone to bed. I thought they were blissfully unaware I was doing this, but it transpired they were aware I was doing it. But anyway, I'd unlock the doors in the house, walk out, shut the door behind me, all unlocked, so I could get back in again, and go fox watching. Little surprise, I subsequently failed my GCSEs because I would fall asleep in class during the day. But it was well worth it. It's my first foray into being a field biologist, which I didn't become. I became a conservation biologist kind of person, is probably the best way to describe it. Which means not collecting data and doing research, but helping species that were in trouble. That's what I ended up doing. But back in the day, when I was a teenager, 13, 14, 15, I was out fox watching at night. And I'd scramble under hedges at 3 in the morning, have a quick hour's kip, and then walk back to the house before my parents woke up, go back in, lock the doors, and pretend nothing had happened. Now, in those days, I used to obviously crawl under hedges and sleep, and when I got home, I'd go onto there's kind of a living room sofa and crash there. My parents didn't bat an eyelid. They could see what was coming. This guy's going to be an outdoors person. Don't know what he's going to be. He's going to be a forester or a hunter, a gamekeeper, or I don't know, a park ranger, a wildlife ecologist maybe. What's he going to be? He's not going to be working in Tesco's, that's for sure. Tesco's is a nice place to work, but I don't think he wants to work indoors. And as so was to be, ended up becoming did some volunteering on nature reserves initially, RSPB nature reserves. Then I did some river restoration on the Isle of Wight. Well, I did some in London initially, then back on the Isle of Wight when I came back. Then to the RSPB for 10 years. Crazy. Mostly doing planning as in somebody wants to build a motorway through this nature reserve. What are we going to do about it? To prevent too much damage, stop it happening ideally, but prevent too much damage if we can't stop it happening. And somebody wants to build a load of houses on this heathland. What are we going to do about that? That's the sort of thing I was doing. Public inquiries, so going head to head with barristers working for developers to stop the damage. Quite a lot of success in those days. Things have changed since Brexit, because there's some European wildlife laws that worked in our favour were pretty tough laws if you damaged a site that was of international importance, or if you wanted to damage a site of international importance. Yeah. But since Brexit, those laws have fallen away, or they don't apply to us anymore. And this current government is very hostile to nature. So it's a much more difficult task now, fighting your corner. Everything's weighted towards the developer. He wants to build their houses or their bypasses or nuclear power stations or barrages across the Wash and the Severn Estuary, or container ports in Southampton Water, talking about ABP there in Dibden Bay. Well, what's the time? It is 7 minutes past 8. So I'm going to stop you here, and I'll pick you back up again down in Ventnor Bay, I think. That was a nice little walk. I'm sure you'll agree, if you're still with me. So it is now 8:29. Let's turn off Strava. Remind me to include that in the map. Include that map on this video, which you can't do because you won't watch this video until after it's uploaded, and I'll forget. It's a thought that counts, though, people. It's a thought that counts. Just drink the rest of my coffee, which is now cold. Well, tepid. So I'm really glad I got the little cabinet done by Matt, which is now in the back of the car, and is brilliant. Loads more storage there now because I've elevated the store. Matt has elevated the storage up for me. Superb. Just got to work out how to use the storage effectively now, and got to build the bed frame. I think I'm going to lift the level of the bed slightly and start sleeping with my head at the front rather than at the back. So I've also got new curtains with magnets in them so they can clamp onto the metalwork of the car. Another reason for taking the old trim off, so it exposes the metal. Magnets are a wonderful invention for a car dweller, just like old Velcro is. Oh no, there's blooming traffic lights down here, I forgot. Flipping, don't know who it is. It's Clancy is the contractor doing the roadworks. I assume it's Southern Water or one of the White Fibre, which is the internet people. It's a freeway light controlled junction, which means it takes an age. It doesn't seem to have any sensors in the traffic lights to tell it when there are cars waiting. So you just sit there for ages, waiting for the lights to change. So frustrating. It's just down here. Yeah, this guy's stopped. Oh no, he's going straight on. Is it green? It is. Look at that. That hasn't happened to me before here. Oh, there's actually somebody working. That's impressive because they've not been working here for a while. Got a nice deep trench. just by way of change. Actually, is this where I wanted to go? Yes, it is. Steep Hill Court Road. So I've walked along here. I've never risked taking Flea up this because it feels a bit steep. But it's probably no steeper than the road that goes up onto Ventnor Downs. And she loves going up there and she's handling this very nicely. Nice little diversion, isn't it? Hang on, you're looking at me. That's better. Didn't realise I had the camera facing me. There we go. Kind of Pelham Woods off to our left and behind us, which I'll have to do a walk into one of these days. I'll do a loop into and through Pelham Woods, then up Paradise Walk onto the top Whitwell Road path, then drop back down via Gillscliff. I think that'd be a nice walk, wouldn't it? I used to do that constantly before I was doing filming in the 90s and the 2000s. It's another one of these concrete roads rather than tarmac. Blooming hard to work with, these concrete surface roads or concrete bedded roads, because when they do shift they're blooming hard to put back together again. This one doesn't have a laminate of tarmac on it, so it's just bare concrete. It looks like it has had a laminate of tarmac. Is that the right word? Laminated tarmac? I don't know. Here you can see it's just disintegrated and gone. Maybe I should have waited there. That guy actually accelerated a bit when he saw I was going around that car. A bit cheeky. I was being cheeky and he was a bit cheeky. Very lumpy, this bit of road. Yeah, it has definitely had a laminate, but it's all just peeled off. And this little dip where it goes down is really bad. It's really just breaking up. There's big slabs of tarmac just sitting on the road where it's broken up. Iron Roads, you are absolutely shockingly bad as a company. And some of the bits of road they resurfaced in quotation marks within the last decade are breaking up already, because they haven't compacted, by the looks of it, compacted what they've put the tarmac onto. I don't know, I know nothing about road engineering, as you can tell. Sounding a bit grumpy today, aren't I? Downs look lovely up there, draped in low cloud. winter gardens here were sold by, I think, by Isle of Wight Council for £1 to the current owner. Too much of a liability for the council, it would seem, if it was owned by the council. I'm pretty sure it was, hence selling it for £1. And the current owner was operating it for a while, but then a big hole developed in the roof, everything's disintegrating, and now there's a bit of a community move to try and get it properly listed as a community asset. Don't know the exact detail of that, but it's something like that. And do some enforcement action. Yeah, that's right. I think the council sold it to this guy with conditions attached, which included don't let it deteriorate and fall apart, because it's listed, and he's let it deteriorate and start to fall apart. There's asbestos in the roof, and it's a bit of a mess created by the good old Isle of Wight Council, who sold it when they shouldn't have. But then they sold a lot of things they shouldn't have, or disposed of, like they disposed of the botanical gardens when they really shouldn't have. Anyway. Right, a quick interlude. I really hope you're enjoying my channel, and I get quite a lot of questions. How did you end up living in a car? How do you live in a car? And what are your plans going forward? Well, I've written a book on that subject, Breaking Free, by Cornish van dweller, funnily enough. You can find a link to where to purchase that in the description below this video, and where you'll also find links to my other books, such as this one, oddly enough, which is How to Write a Book on a Smartphone. And this book was actually written on my iPhone Mini 13 using voice to text dictation. And you'll also find this book, Bird Watching Around Ventnor. Link to that in the description below this video, and this one as well, Wildlife Watching Around Ventnor. I've written about 10 books, all of which are linked in the description below this video. Right, let's get back to watching my videos.